Hey everyone, and welcome. So today we're going to do something really cool. We're unpacking an 11-day journey through Morocco. And we're not just going to look at a list of places, right? We're going to break down the whole itinerary to really understand the story this trip tells.
I mean, just look at this. We're talking about a place that has it all. Epic landscapes, ancient cities, a culture that's just so vibrant. This isn't just a vacation, It's a full-on adventure into the heart of what makes Morocco, well, Morocco.
So that's the big question we're tackling today, right? What does an 11-day adventure in a place like this really look like? What does it feel like? Well, let's dive in and find out.
First up, the journey kicks off by diving headfirst into the country's historical and cultural core. We're talking about the imperial cities.
Okay, so everything starts in Casablanca. And right away you get this amazing sense of contrast. On one hand, you have the modern gateway to this ancient land. You've got the absolutely massive Hassan II Mosque. And then you're having a welcome dinner at a spot that's a nod to classic Hollywood, a recreation of the famous Rick's Cafe. How cool is that?
All right, before we go any further, there's a word you're going to hear a lot, Medina. So what is it? Simply put, it's the old part of town, the historic walled quarter. The best way to picture it is like a maze, just a labyrinth of narrow, winding streets. And trust me, getting lost in one is all part of the fun. It's totally central to the experience in cities like Rabat and Fez.
From there, it's on to Fez, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and man, this city is all about contrast. You've got the grand, golden gates of the royal palace, just pure grandeur. And then you step into the Medina, and it's this whole other world of bustling, tight-knit alleyways where artisans have been doing their thing for literally centuries. It's an amazing clash of worlds.
So you can see this whole first part of the trip is really a deep dive into Morocco's roots. And you might be wondering, why these specific cities? Well, there's a good reason. Rabat, Meknes, and Fez, along with Marrakesh, which we'll get to later, were all at some point the capital of the kingdom. So exploring them is basically like walking through the different chapters of Morocco's history book, from ancient Roman ruins to the cultural center of Fez.
Okay, so after soaking up all that incredible history, the trip takes a massive turn. We're saying goodbye to the cities and hello to some seriously vast, wide-open natural landscapes.
As the tour heads south, the whole vibe just completely shifts. You're driving through these beautiful cedar forests, and then you pass through a ski resort. Yeah, you heard that right. A ski resort in Morocco called Ifrane. It's such a wild departure from the buzz of the cities.
And this is where the journey itself really becomes the destination. Driving through the Middle Atlas Mountains and the Ziz Gorge, this isn't just about getting from point A to point B. It's a jaw-dropping experience all on its own, and it's basically the grand entrance to the desert. Which brings us to what is, for a lot of people, the absolute highlight of the entire trip. We're talking about arriving in the Sahara Desert for an experience that you will, I promise, never ever forget. So, after that incredible drive, you finally arrive. And this is it, the massive, towering sand dunes of Merzouga. You're literally standing at the edge of the world's most famous desert. The sense of scale, it's honestly hard to put into words. Absolutely breathtaking.
So what does this whole Sahara experience actually involve? Well, it's pretty amazing. First, you get to a traditional Berber camp, nestled right there in the dunes. Then you get to spend the night there, eating these fantastic multi-course meals they cook on site. The next morning, and this is the big one, you take that iconic camel trek out to watch the sunrise. And just when you think it can't get any better, you have a champagne breakfast to celebrate. Pretty perfect, right?
And if you're thinking, this sounds like roughing it, think again. This camp is this perfect blend of authentic and surprisingly comfortable. We're talking Moroccan rugs, cozy beds, and get this, private toilets and showers. Out in the middle of the desert. It's the best of both worlds, for sure.
Okay, so as we leave the desert, we've got another important word for you, Kasbah. A Kasbah is basically a fortress, and the route you take is famously called the Road of 1,000 Kasbahs. And that's not just some catchy name, it's like a living museum. This was a super important caravan route connecting the Sahara with the big cities, and for centuries, these fortresses were where local leaders lived and they offered protection and supplies to all the traders passing through.
And the absolute star of the show is 8 Ben Haddou. It's technically Aksar, which is like a whole fortified village, and this place, it's a UNESCO site, but you've almost definitely seen it before. Think
Gladiator or Alexander. Yep, this is a major movie star in its own right. It's this wild place where ancient history and Hollywood just smash together.
All right, let's move on to the grand finale of the tour, a city that barely needs an introduction, the one and only Pink City, Marrakesh.
And the absolute beating heart of Marrakesh is its Medina. The markets there, the souks, they are just an explosion for your senses. Seriously, just try to imagine the smell of all those spices in the air, the incredible colors of all the handmade crafts. It's an overload in the best possible way.
But Marrakesh is so much more than just its markets, you know? This part of the trip is packed with all kinds of different experiences. Of course, you'll see the big landmarks like the Koutoubia Minaret and the Bahia Palace. You'll find a quiet moment in the famous Majorelle Gardens. But then you also get to do a cooking class with a local nonprofit, take a day trip up into the mountains, and even relax with a traditional bath at a hammam spa. It's the whole package.
All right, so as we start to wrap this up, let's just take a step back and look at the whole journey as one big story.
This timeline really lays it all out, doesn't it? You can see the flow so clearly. You kick things off in Casablanca, work your way through those historic imperial cities, then make that huge, dramatic shift across the mountains and into the Sahara. From there, it's the journey through Kasbah country and on to the big, vibrant finale in Marrakesh. It makes sense.
So, I think the big takeaway here is this. From the deep dive into history, to the wild desert landscapes, to the non-stop energy of Marrakesh, this whole itinerary is just a beautifully crafted way to experience the absolute best of what Morocco has to offer.
And really, that brings us to the final thought. This itinerary, it's just one incredible path you can take through Morocco. It's designed to show you just how diverse the country is. So that leaves just one question, really. If you were going, what path would you choose?